Hello, my beautiful friends. We are back with a new episode this week, and today I'm going to be talking about how I sell or how I approach sales as a creative service. I did a poll on Instagram the other day, and I had like 4 different topics that I was really excited to speak about, and you guys picked this one. So today I'm going to dive into how I see sales, and this is specifically for people who are selling like a creative service like photography, interior design, branding, web design, or maybe you're a copywriter. It's for people who like your creative service is not tied to something tangible like a product, and it's not tied to something that's like measurable ROI. So it's not like running Facebook ads, you put in $2, you'll get back $5 or something. So that would be under performance marketing, let's say. That is tangible. So that's not what we're talking about today. So if you have a creative service and it's like in the realm of photography or something in the creative realm, and you struggle with sales or how to position it or how to approach it, how to speak about it in a way that gets your clients excited, then this video is for you. So there are 5 points I want to make, and I have written down a few notes on here, and let's dive into them. So the first one is your ROA or ROI is not tangible. And by tangible, I mean like it's not something physical, and it's not something that you can really measure. It's not like if you put in X amount, you're going to get back X amount. And you could say when it comes to the world of like website design that people expect there to be an ROI. Yes, but it's not like if you invest 7K into a rebrand and redesign that you're going to make back 2X, 3X or whatever. Like it's not a direct correlation. Whereas if you're running Facebook ads or you are creating, let's say, flyers, or you're running email marketing campaigns, like there's more of a tangible ROI there, and it speaks to the logic side of their brain, right? Whereas like, so there's creative services that are kind of like more logic based, that speaks to that part of someone's like brain when they're making their decision. But what you're doing, you don't want to be speaking to the logical part of their brain. You don't want to be like, oh, if you invest with me, you're going to get 100 more photos, or I'll give you X more logo variations. I know you kind of step out of that, and you want to be speaking to the emotional part of their brain, because that's what it is that you're really selling. You're selling a feeling, right? And so I think firstly, it's like really important to understand like what is your actual ROI for them, because it's not something tangible. They don't care about how many photos they actually get, right? They care about like maybe how the photos make them feel afterwards, the nostalgia in 10 years time, or they care about how their brand is perceived or how they're perceived through their branding, their design work, or they care about when they invite people into their homes, that people feel a certain way in their space, right? Or that they feel inspired in their own space, if we're talking about interior designers. So that's number one. And yeah, that it's a feeling. And because, okay, I wanted to say that, because it's a feeling, and that's so like, because it's a feeling and it's not commoditized, as you get to be more flexible in how you value your service, how you value that feeling that they want to feel, right? So there's no cap on that. It's not like, for example, a bottle of water. Like you can't charge $100 for a bottle of water. You just can't, right? But then branding, some people value it at like 100, and other people value it at like millions, right? It's just that in between, because what you're paying for, it's not something tangible. And so that actually frees you from the reins of having a limit on how much you can charge. And that limit depends actually more solely on the person that you're speaking to and how they value the feeling, how they value the intangible ROI that they want to get from whatever it is that they want to hire you for. So number 2 is that you're not speaking to a need, you're speaking to a want. And I think sometimes we forget that and we use it in our lingo like, oh, you need this, you need a new brand, you need a new, I don't know, you need new photos, you need this. But remembering that they don't actually need it because they're not gonna like die if they don't get it. And understanding that it's a want, it's a desire, and then to question like, why do they want it in the first place? And really think of that, because they're not wanting it because it's going to make them more money or because it's going to be da 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 da. They want it because, and this is point number 3, it speaks to a part of their identity, right? Who do they want to be? And how does this help them become that person? And so really jotting down some notes, like to what part of their identity does your service or product or creative, what does your creative piece speak to, right? This also applies if you're an artist, for example. If, for example, I create abstract art as well, and I have a lot of clients who have taught me so much about the creative process of sales, because what does it speak to? And each of them, I think to each of them, it speaks to a different part of like this new version of them. So a lot of them have moved into their home. They're stepping into, I'm a homeowner now, right? And I am somebody who is able to invest in a custom commissioned art piece that makes me feel more sophisticated or makes me feel like I have a home, I am an owner of a home, right? And so that's like one part of an identity that it speaks to. And you really like get yourself to put yourself in their shoes and try to understand to what part of the identity does this speak to. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, and what emotions does it turn on, right? Because we are selling something creative, and a lot of the times we try to justify in our sales process, in our copywriting, in our social media posts, on our sales calls, we're trying to persuade somebody to work with us. We're trying to somehow convince them that we're the better choice. And it's so easy when we're falling into that, it almost feels like a debate or like a case you have to present. And when we fall into that energy, we usually resort back to like logical points. So like, because you'll get X amount of photos, or you can make back X amount, or we start resorting back to tangible things or measurable things, and we forget to really speak to their emotions. And so my point number 4 is like really thinking about what emotions does it turn on. And to give you some examples, so if you're a photographer, the emotion that you get to turn on is like maybe they want to feel beautiful. And through working with you, through seeing themselves, your lens, literally through your lens in your eyes, they get to feel beautiful. And that is something that is so rare, maybe intangible for them as well. Maybe they don't feel beautiful often. But you capture them, or you see them in a certain way, or they feel safe to be seen by you. And that's something that's a very rare and very special feeling to be able to invoke in somebody. As an interior designer, maybe your clients, the emotion that they want to feel is like they want to feel sophisticated. They want to feel artsy. They want to feel inspired by the home that they have bought, that they live in, right? If you're a brand and website designer, the word that I hear often is, I want to feel professional. I want to feel legit. I want to feel premium. I want to feel like I want people to take me seriously, right? I think that's also a common one that I get. If you are a copywriter, or for example, last night I was at a Poetry and Possibility event, and that was so beautiful, and I had to think about it. It's like, why what led us there? What led me there? What is the emotion that it turns on for us to go to a poetry event? Because honestly, like, there is no ROI in terms of measurable terms of it helping our business or etc. But I'm like, what's the feeling? And I realized, like, for me personally, it helps me feel connected to my soul, to express myself through words, through poetry. And it was so beautiful to sit in that with a room of 33 other humans, all just being there, open-hearted, expressing their souls. And I just thought that was so beautiful. And to feel connected, actually, that's an emotion. I felt connected with myself, with the people around me, and I felt really inspired. And so, yeah, I wanted to drop that as a very abstract, right? And so that was number 4. Number 5, and I spoke on this briefly before as well, but it's like, you really want to speak to the person they are becoming through this process, and not to the person who is currently in front of you talking to you, right? And to give you an example, let's say somebody is coming to me for a rebrand and a new website, and the person who's sitting before me might be a little bit scared. Maybe they've been burned before. Maybe they have created their own website and DIY'd everything up until this point, right? But they're finally at a stage of ready to let go and to hire out and to trust professionals, experts to do an even better job for them. Maybe they are at a stage where they are becoming that next level CEO or founder of their business. And this is going to help them get to that next level in their business, right? And they get to step into that next level version of themselves. But when I'm talking to them, I don't want to be speaking to the person who is currently a little bit scared, right? Who is a little bit like unsure, maybe for whatever reason in the past. I want to be speaking to that future them, that person that they are becoming. What decisions does that person make? Because the person I'm currently speaking to, up until this current moment and point, maybe they've never invested in branding and web design, right? And I don't want to be speaking to that person, because that person makes a very different decision than the person who they want to be, who they aspire to be. And so it's like, it really shifts the energetics of how you relate to this person when you see them as like that future person. And I kind of think of it as they're here and they want to be this person, and your service or the act of working with you is the bridge that helps them get to who they want to be. And you want to see themselves almost as like they're already on the other side, and they took that bridge, or they built the bridge with you, and that's what got them to the other side. But you don't want to speak too much to who they are right now. Yes, of course, you want to like be empathetic and understand the fears that they're moving through, and uphold them to that like highest version of themselves, who they want to be. And that feeling is like, I believe in you. It's like, I know you have potential to be more. I know you can do more. I see the next level version of you. That is the energy that they want to be around. That's like magnetic. That's like someone who sees you in your highest light. You want to be around them more, because they make you a better person. And so I kind of bring that aspect also. You can bring that aspect to friendships, to relationships, to anything, but I love bringing that aspect to my business too, and to my clients, because I think it's important. And I think everybody wants to be seen in their highest light. So from a creative service perspective, let's use another example. If you're a photographer, and let's say the person in front of you doesn't feel beautiful, they have all these insecurities about themselves, but you see them as beautiful. And through them seeing it through your eyes, your words, your energy, they will feel beautiful, and they will trust you that you will be able to capture them beautifully, right? And so that's just a different example I wanted to use there as well. I think, and everybody's obviously beautiful in their own way, right? And everybody is, it's very subjective, but I feel like what's really important to when you approach sales as a creative service provider is that you don't forget how important the energy and the frequency is when you are having a conversation with your potential client. And so the last thing, which I didn't write down but just came to me now, and this is partially inspired by the poetry night I went to last night, he was saying how in the age of AI, where everything, all the marketing content, social media, captions, etc., they can be written by AI, right? And so we're seeing this rise of like information bombing, or just like I feel like written works, not that they matter less, but that there's so much out there that it's not unusual to see good pieces of writing now, I suppose, whereas back in the day before AI, it was harder to find a really good copywriter who could write in your voice, right? And so what is becoming more special is the way a person, a human, is able to communicate that message live or in video format, right? And I realized that yesterday. His poetry is wonderful, right? But there are also a lot of poets out there that, I don't know, maybe someone could get AI to write poems in his voice, right? But what makes him so special is the way he performs it. It's the way he speaks it. It's his energy, his presence, his frequency, like in a room full of people. And that got me thinking that it's very similar across all aspects of all the industries, right? But in this particular topic that we're speaking on, how I approach sales as a creative service provider, there are so many creatives out there who hide behind their work and who hide behind their Instagram posts and prefer to just not show their faces. Maybe they'll have some beautiful mock-ups, some captions written by AI, some posts written by AI about like why you need this or why you need that and how I can provide this and how you can work with me, right? But you know, like what really gets a sale through is when you connect with a potential client in person and they feel your energy. It's the way you speak about it. It's the way you hold yourself. It's the way you see them. And that is something that builds trust like nothing else I've seen before. Like if someone likes you, they trust you, they feel your energy, and it's just like an energetic yes. There is no other competition out there. Someone else could be more skilled than you. Someone else could have better Instagram posts, more followers, or whatever, more projects under their belt than you. But what's becoming a rarity these days and what's going to really help you stand out is how do you hold yourself? How do you make someone feel on a sales call or even just like an initial conversation? But like, let's say we're talking about a sales call here and you're meeting this client for the first time, potential client, and they've been speaking to 5 other people, 5 other photographers, 5 other designers, doesn't matter what it is, right? But they're shopping around. And all the other creatives, they have an amazing portfolio maybe, but they're quite shy. When they talk about their services, they're kind of like this. And they don't exude a lot of confidence. They're kind of just their body language, they're maybe introverts, and they just like to create. They just want to be creating, right? But if you're able to like show up differently, if you're able to show up with more confidence and just like more of that magic in your energy, the way you make them feel, like that's what they want to say yes to. They say yes to your energy. And I think that is, because if you think about it, it's like, what is art? What is art but creative energy, right? Not to go on a tangent here, but I find since having been an abstract artist and actually having people buy my art, commission me for my art, I'm like, wow, people really resonate with my art. And I'm trying to think like, what is it? Because I don't have an art degree. I don't have years of art under my belt. It's something that I started recently, but it's something that when I'm making my art, I am in it with this most abundant, beautiful, creative, joyful energy. And I really believe that I imbue my artwork with that energy and people can feel it. And that's why they resonate with it, right? And so creative energy is felt. And I think that's really important not to forget that when we bring it to the table, when we bring it to our potential clients who want to work with us. So take what resonates. I'm curious if this landed, if this has been your own experience as well. And if you like this and you want to stay notified when the next one comes out, please do hit subscribe. And I have some free resources on creativity, sales, websites in my description below. So go check that out, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.